He's not here.
Built that.
On a much needed.
He's on a mission. Just have some fun. Yeah. Gotta turn that light off. Sorry, I have to stand to the side. So I go to a class and they always say, who's new to my class? And I always never raise my hand because I'm not new. Anybody new to my class here today? Not new. Liar, liar. Anybody else new? New people? Welcome. Stand up and new to my class. New to my class. Introduce yourself again.
Okay.
If it's
newer agents.
Yeah,
Go
newer
ahead.
agents.
Knock it out.
Jim Jenks, just started a couple weeks ago here. I live up in Woodstock and very excited to be with you.
Welcome. Anybody else new to my class?
Yeah, Lisa, go ahead.
Lisa?
I'm Lisa Sluss, and I live in Adair Park, Southwest Atlanta.
Yay. Y'all referral connections. Referral connections. Anybody else?
If I am new to you,
You're new.
I'm old but new.
How long have we known each other?
A gazillion.
A gazillion years, yes. I'm Cynthia Pierce. If anybody doesn't know me, I've been one of the original people here since 1900. So, along with Deb Martino and Luann. A bunch of us were sort of here for a long time. Bill Haas, there he is, slipping in.
Hello, everybody.
And Amisha Mason has agreed to help us out today, and she is a total rock star. How many people don't know Amisha? Raise your hand if you don't see her because she's busy working.
Hello, everybody.
Amisha,
Nice to meet everyone.
Tell them what all you do.
I sell real estate.
She sells.
I sell real estate.
The parties are in the house. Yay. So Amisha even coaches and has coaching. So just so you know, she's total rock star. So we've been tasked with keeping you guys amused for about an hour. But we also have information that you're going to want to get, okay? Because that's the fun thing. Any ahas? Anybody thanking anybody else around here for something good they did last week for you?
Like a cheers for peers.
Cheers for peers. Who's got a cheer for peers?
Anybody want to acknowledge anyone before we get started?
Think about it, Luann.
Matt Liff did a great job with two of my closings last week, but I don't think he's
Who's Matt Lip?
Yeah.
Where is that kid?
Wait, what did that lady say at our closing, Randy? About you? Remember? Said, oh, you're the older gentleman that compared to
Thanks. Yeah, the older guy.
The older guy, yeah. So we were like in the older guy category.
Older but wiser.
Yeah.
gave you a cheers.
Oh,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Who else? RJ.
Well, I don't know how Matt got the call, Randy. I'm sorry, but Matt did a great job with my forgetful buyer that kind of forgot that there was a deadline for certain things.
That's it. I'm out of here.
Oh,
But anyway, we had a good closing yesterday.
yay. So guys, these are our mortgage partners. And Randy is incorporated in some of the stuff we're going to talk about. So I have a kudo for Mr. Randy. I'll just tell you right now, after a 9-month ordeal, I had a very nice closing with Randy. We didn't know till we were closing till we closed after 9 months of work. So please, we'll get a little bit of that because that's sort of out of the box how we got to the closing. So what we wanted to talk about today, Brad told us that we're talking about out of the box. He told us. So I texted
He's
him back.
watching.
Oh, yes. Well, I texted him back. Was team meeting today? I don't know. Was it? So, first of all, what I'm going to ask you to do is tell us what do you define as the box? Raise your hand. Everybody raise your hand. We're going to go fast. Who thinks, what is the box in real estate? I mean, how do we think out of the box? We don't know what the box is.
I think
right?
we've been out of the box.
Box is an easy deal.
Right. Okay.
Big deal.
It's a textbook
You
deal
put up
that
the
you
sign,
learn in
someone
class.
calls, and
What does that
that's
mean? What does that mean? A textbook deal.
Just in the box is the kind of stuff you learn, sorry, you people, in school.
And they write a contract and they go to closing.
And then you go through all these check boxes, and then you go to closing.
Oh.
But then you have inspections and appraisals, and
Oh.
And-
But they all stay in the box, right? That's in the box.
no, they jump right out of the box. And sometimes they go really far from the box.
Okay.
And you have to have a sometimes you need a whip, sometimes you need a shrink hat, sometimes you need a lot of kindness and understanding and sucking up.
You hear that, guys?
No.
Be nice.
Being adversarial, some agents have the mindset that if they're pushing and being adversarial, that they're advocating for their clients. But does that, in the long run, get the deal done? Not always. So, not always. Anybody else? What else is in the box to you guys? In the box. Do you think anything else, RJ?
Well, I was gonna say, to some people, in the box is a win-lose situation instead of a
Yes.
win-win.
Yeah, right. We're
I
all
mean,
about
like you said
win-win.
with other
here.
agents.
Oh, that's
Right.
a good perspective.
Good.
I mean, sometimes you gotta get them out of the box to stop thinking win-lose, like on an inspection or whatever. No, you
Yeah.
compromise.
I would say, in the box is the Ignite book, but out of the box is all of you that can talk the class to us.
Oh, good idea. I
Box
love
is
that.
reality.
Reality, yeah,
Yeah.
so some of the experienced agents that have been through the trenches a little bit share stories and experiences and hopefully wisdom. Hopefully wisdom, right? Anybody have wisdom in here yet? I do. I'm old enough.
Wisdom
I
for the
think
pain, right?
Deb had her hand raised.
Oh, I was gonna say, when I think of thinking in the box, I think of when we were all in grade school and you were told to color a tree, and it was supposed to be a brown trunk and green leaves, because that's what a tree looks like.
Yeah.
And there was always a couple people who started, well, what about, we have these many colors, and you'd see these Technicolor trees, and those were the beautiful ones. And that's what out of the box is
And a
thinking, is
squirrel.
knowing that this is what a tree may look like right here now today, but in order to really bring it home and help our clients, we have to be very creative in our thinking. We've got to fertilize,
Yes.
we've got to fence,
Totally
we've got to
agree.
mulch, we've got to really work that tree and color it in different colors. And all those different leaves are the different options we bring that are what helps us get to the solution that we need for them.
And experience sometimes helps with that too.
Yeah. I would
Yes,
say
Linda.
of all the deals that we do every day, how many of you say that? How many of you would say that the majority of your deals you do not have to think outside the box? You can pretty much write a contract and take it to closing without getting outside the lines.
Zero.
Zero. So really, our job then. How many say that we would have to get outside the box at least one time in every single deal?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it seems like building this whole mindset of having solutions in your toolbox outside of the box would serve you more often than not. Yeah,
You
would
gotta
guys
learn
agree?
to, like you said, learn how to stay in the lines, right? But
With
then
the
you gotta
whole-
figure out
everything's
how
whole.
to get by when you're outside the lines.
So we've defined the box, and Cynthia and I came up with, we would say 5 key elements to thinking outside the box successfully. And the first is when you come up against a problem in a deal, I would say the first thing that, and the solution is not readily available, right? First thing is to think that failure isn't an option. Like, what if you absolutely couldn't fail on this deal? What if the deal had to go to closing no matter what? Just getting in that mindset, or just acknowledging that or telling yourself that causes you to get in a more solution-oriented mode.
Shouldn't everybody say, repeat after me, failure is not an option?
So if you get an appraisal that's $300,000 and you're under contract for $350, because let's be real, if we get an appraisal for $300 but we're under contract for $310, we're nervous, but we feel like we could probably work through that. Yes. Yeah, but if we get something with a $50 or $30 or $25,000 differential, now we start to feel a little bit more like, oh, I don't know how
Going down.
yeah, I don't know how to work this out. But if you get in your mindset that, okay, this is just an opportunity to solve another problem, right? The bigger the problem, the bigger the opportunity. I think your mind goes into a different solution-oriented space. And I think some people miss that because as soon as, especially if it's like your one deal and you haven't had a closing in 2 months, and you get that appraisal differential, your first thought could be, what, I don't have to tell you, what is it?
It's ugly. It's that drunk monkey saying it's not gonna close.
It's not gonna close.
Oh shit.
I'm not gonna pay my mortgage. Oh shit. Yeah, like we got all my bills. Like you start thinking about things that don't have anything to do.
A lot of people say they're my commission. They go to me. How many go to me first?
But it's fleeting.
No, it's fleeting. Thank you.
Fleeting, yeah.
Your brain goes, oh
You
my
think
God,
about
I'm
your
on that
survival,
money. So,
right?
But you got to flip your mind to what is happening for the client in that situation, right?
And stay in possibility.
Yeah.
And so what does that look like? If you have to, like, 2 people, tell me what does stay in possibility look like for you.
Being the calmest person in the room.
Calmest person in the room.
Calm, so emotional state, right?
Bill?
I think it also starts before problems happen by setting expectations. You know, if most of you guys haven't heard of this guy, but he had a training company called By Referral Only, Joe Stump. And he had this analogy in this script he would use with both buyers and sellers saying,
Plane ride.
it's a plane ride and
Yep.
I'm your pilot. And folks, there's a high probability we're going to have turbulence.
Yep.
But it's my job to get you from point A to point B and get those wheels on the ground and get you successfully landed and achieve your goals. And I want you to know that I'm going to be with you through these problems, and there are probably going to be things that come up. And, you know, that, I think setting the expectations on the front end that with a seller, like, that's why you hired us, is because we know how to fix these problems.
And we have up there mitigate, don't we?
Yeah, so that takes us, that's great, because that's a great transition. Cynthia, want to take number 2?
Mitigate drama and emotions. Okay. Who has fired off an email that they regretted they ever fired off that email? Nobody here? Okay, so my solution over time, because I don't learn everything necessarily up front, and I'm sure everybody can identify with this, is you learn because you made a mistake sometimes, right? Gary Keller taught us 20 years ago, fail your way forward. So now I might draft the email, but there's no to filled in. No to filled in.
Don't fill it.
Don't fill it in, it cannot accidentally
Oh, what a
go.
great idea.
So don't put the to, then go back, go have a cup of coffee, go sit down, go for a walk, come back and read it, all fresh, okay? And that's the same thing for when you get the phone call. Guys, this morning at 6:07, I had a text on a multiple offer situation, and they said, our buyer's buyer terminated late last night. 6 o'clock. I was thinking of sleeping till 7. I'm up, I'm having coffee, I'm calling the agent. So my job is to remain calm. I mean, I didn't say the you know what. I just went, OMG, you know. So my job is to stay calm and to mitigate the emotions. Obviously, the emotions of everybody are going to be high. So you, as an agent and a professional, I think have to absorb that emotion first. Get it out of your system, because you're human, aren't you? You're going to react. So I feel like what I do is take it internally, gonna go, okay, let's find how we're gonna solve this. What are my options?
I would even add to that, another reason why to check your emotions before you have a conversation is because you can get away with saying almost anything if you say it the right way. And I've like crashed and burned on this several times with my mouth. Like there's times when I have said things that are of value, but I said them in such a off-putting way that it didn't land well, right? And I didn't get the result. So if you can take time to like get calm in your space before you speak to your co-op or your agent, because they're absorbing all your energy. Even if you said something great in a really aggressive tone, it still could land like, am I sure that was a good thing? You know, so just checking your emotions. That's another reason why to check your emotions before you speak.
You know, in point of fact, when I called the seller, he was like an hour later after I'd been working for an hour on this, and he called his wife and said, there's a slight hiccup, but everything will be okay. I'm like, really? Did I say that? I didn't say that. But what had happened was I had already kind of gotten to this level before I called him. I knew that I had to not call him right away and kind of go through the drama that I was experiencing, right? So I've learned that just try to wait, which is the hardest thing sometimes. Luann?
I find that things late at night are never good. So if
or at 6 in the morning.
I try to not send something to my client at night, even if it's something that keeps me up all night. I just try to not do it.
Don't
because
fill in the 2.
If I send something at 9 o'clock at night and they're upset, I'm going to be up another 2 hours, you know, because they're going to want to talk about it, whatever.
Yeah,
But
try to find a solution.
Everything is scarier at night, or maybe people have been drinking.
People have a drink.
No inspection amendments after.
You have to remember that emails and texts have no tonality.
Correct.
So you just have to go, did she really call me a You just doesn't have to go, well, perhaps we got off on the wrong foot, but
And I think more and more, we as professionals have to have conversations. Would you agree?
It's so hard. Like, we say that, but let's be real. Emotions are high in transactions, right? And when we feel like another person is being unreasonable, I agree, we should, but learning how to have conversations is a skill when you're in an emotionally charged
Yeah.
profession. One strategy that I use with number 2 is I'm be honest, I'm not always able to control. I don't always control my emotions. Okay, let me be honest.
No.
Sometimes I get on that phone and so what I've learned to do is
heard that.
I'll be transparent with you guys. So I try to overcompensate with my tonality. Okay? I've learned this a long time ago with my coach. She's been working on it with me for 5 years. She's like, okay, we got to get another strategy. So one strategy that I use is I overcompensate by never delivering incomplete information. So for example, let's say I call you and say, the buyer's buyer terminated, right?
Don't know what's going to happen.
So sidebar. Sometimes it's not like, oh my God, the buyer's buyer. Like, sometimes it's not aggression. Sometimes your tone, if your energy is too low on the phone, your clients will pick that up and feel like it's doom and gloom, right? So I may call and say, the buyer's buyer terminated, and yet we have 2 other backup offers that I'm currently negotiating.
Yeah.
So I'm overcompensating by providing complete information. I'm not delivering bad news without solution.
Right.
Like, never deliver bad. I don't care where you gotta go get the probable solution from, but package it with the bad news so that even if your tone is off, the person is hearing, okay, I have something to sell my client. Because really, the co-op is only thinking about, oh my God, now I have to tell my client this. I want to do the heavy lifting for the co-op so that I give you a script to give to your client.
Yeah.
It's really not even about my client, and because I can kind of control my client to some degree, right? What I can't control is how her client responds to my information. But if I give her the language to use with her client, now she's calm. Her client hopefully is a little bit more calm because I can't trust the skill. I don't know you personally, right? We're just doing a deal. I can't trust her skill level to communicate that to her client. So I'm going to give her the language without saying, hey, this is what you tell your client.
Yeah. Bill.
I think too, and this is maybe like a tough one for a lot of people to swallow this day and age, but texting and email it actually sucks in many ways. I mean, you gotta pick up the phone and talk to people, man. You learn so much in a 5-minute conversation or a 2-minute conversation. You're shooting these texts back and forth.
While you're driving.
Just pick up the phone
Well, in
and
the
talk
multiple
to the
offer
person, or
situation,
tell them to call you.
Yeah, one of the agents asked me later, can you please tell us why we didn't win so we can do better in the future? And you know why they didn't win? Because she didn't talk to me and tell me that the buyer had flexibility. She sent over highest and best, and it had a drop dead closing in there and a possession date in there, which didn't suit my clients. And the other people verbally said, we can be flexible, we'll work with you. So she lost the deal because she didn't even communicate to me that there was a way to move.
Did you tell her that?
No, I
So
didn't.
did you tell her that?
Now she does. Now she.
Now I don't want to because I might need her.
Don't tell her.
Don't go there. But I will later. I said I'll wait for time to go by. I had a strategy. I'll wait for time to go by and then tell her later, here's why we went with buyer number 1. But we were not out of due diligence, so buyer number 1. So yes, I think it's paramount to pick up the phone and have a conversation. Because you know more in your heart about your client than you can convey in a text or an email. You know, you may want to come out and say, we have to close on the 13th, and that's what we're asking for. The seller could, but you don't know this. Maybe they could close on the 18th or something. So the person receiving it doesn't know because you didn't communicate that there was flexibility. So I think it's very important.
So our number 3 is who you're aligned with. I'll say a short spiel, and I'm going to pass this to Cynthia because I will say that the people.
Yeah.
I'm only as great as the people around me that I work with, period. And I have a high level of expectation for the brilliance of the people who I'm in relationship with. Everybody has to be able to think at a super high level, deliver high customer service, but really, even if your customer service is off sometimes, which because we all are, I can accept that if you're a problem solver at the highest level, right? Because customer service doesn't mean much if we can't get to the closing table. If I have to prioritize them, problem solving is the #1 characteristic of somebody I'm aligned with. And that goes for attorneys, lenders, plumbers, inspectors, down the list. So Cynthia has a great story.
Yeah. Randy, could you come up, please? Please, please, please. I want you to know that I've aligned myself with Randy many, many times on loans, and we've had many, many, many great experiences. This one was just probably one of the ones that capped everything, because every single time over the course of 9 months that my buyer ran into a hiccup, Randy would inform me, oh, there's this hiccup now. Oh, Lord, we got to wait for a new credit score. But just in a nutshell, how did you keep moving forward? Number one, the thing we set up there is failure was not an option. Not for him, not for me. There was too much invested in it, and really not for our client, who are the sweetest couple, and they just were a little bit airy-fairy about why.
Well, it was.
Things.
I don't know who does a good Yoda imitation, but wasn't it a do or don't? There is no try, or right, something like that. So I mean, that's do or do not. There is no. Okay, I don't do it.
But did I not give up?
It's also a KW.
Yeah.
Bola.
Not sure exactly where you want me to go with that,
but just solving the problems out of the box. You stayed.
Well, in 9 months, it had to be something magical to happen.
Yeah.
Well, he knew better than to get Cynthia mad at him.
No. I mean, it was really. I mean, we started off, and they were a nice couple, but they just kept self-destructing. Basically, and so we just had to keep them on the right path. But there were a lot of different angles that we had to use because they didn't have enough money, they didn't have enough credit score.
Waited for this.
They wanted this house. They really should have been at this house, but we got them up there.
How did you overcome the credit score? If you had to give them some specifics.
How did we get their credit score?
Yeah.
He changed it.
Credit score,
Well, first of all, I'm going to preempt this talk by telling you guys, I think whoever came up with the idea of what you guys are doing today stole it from us, because we have Mortgage 102 after this meeting, which is advanced problem solving and lending, and really showing you guys how to solve some problems.
Yay, guys.
Like you get a $40,000 low appraisal. Show you how to solve that problem for $1,400, which in this case we did have a low appraisal.
Oh, you had that too.
But we had to get their credit score up.
5 years into the game.
We had to get their credit score up twice over the 9-month period. We had to go and get a second mortgage. We had to do a piggyback. So then we had to get the husband's
lender and different.
Yeah, I mean,
mortgage.
Again, there was a lot of challenges, but it was never quit. It was, we're going to get it done. It's just, you have to find the right path.
I think how long before closing did we know we were actually closing?
A minute,
30 seconds.
No, we knew we were closing 9 months ahead of time.
Failure is not an option.
It was not an option. It's just we didn't know how we were going to do it. So
One thing
we got there.
that, one of the sort of poignant things within this whole transaction, which I never shared with Randy, but it's kind of like one of these heart things. The wife's family had some money, right? So at one point I'm like,
You never told me that.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that out loud. Anyway.
That would have been easier.
I said, could you do a personal loan or make it so that you're not buying jumbo, whatever the circumstance was. She said, I will never ask my family because they don't live in expensive homes. She said, I wanted this expensive home for me and my husband and my family, my 3 kids. but the family wouldn't necessarily understand that that was their priority, and that she felt like it was her problem to get it solved. And, you know, they just love the house, love the neighborhood, love everything about it. So it was kind of like one of those things where she was determined to do it. She just didn't really have the,
What we tried to do is we ended up, because
Yeah.
she had a lesser score, he had a higher score, she made more money, he made less money.
it's just.
Whatever. So we ended up, we're gonna put her on the first
Back and
mortgage
forth.
by herself, put him on the second mortgage by himself, put them both on the deed, and we got it worked out.
Isn't that
It just-
amazing?
It took a lot of creative
How
out.
many people knew that was possible? That's what
Yeah.
we've been waiting on right there.
Yeah.
How many
So-
people knew
Are
that
these
that was
people gonna be able to make
possible?
their payments?
You guys-
Oh yeah, oh
They
yeah.
make good money. They just.
Yeah, they
Can
just,
we, let's solicit from the audience, because you just,
Yeah.
like, you just dropped the meat and potatoes, and I want to make sure we didn't miss that. Did you guys hear what Randy just
Say it
said?
again.
I don't, what did I just say?
Money off the deed.
You had a couple who bought a house, and somebody
One
had a higher
qualified for
credit,
one.
somebody had lower credit, somebody made more money, and the other person made less money. One person went on the first loan, one person went on the second. That's what we came for today.
Yeah.
How many people heard that?
Yeah.
Right.
How many people knew that before you got in here? That's a win. That's outside the box problem solving.
And that's the difference between a Randy
Yes.
and all these crazy things.
And then
Right.
somebody over the phone, without a doubt.
Well, we do pride ourselves at thinking outside the box, and I'm glad you guys are bringing that up, because that is one of the things we do, and that's why we do want to talk to your buyers early, sometimes 9 months early, so that we can try to figure out solutions
Well,
and be that pilot, you know, and
Yeah,
I
that
think
was
if you-
awesome. I didn't know that before.
No, I didn't know how
Okay,
I did not know how he solved it, because he and I both chose to let that be in his court, and my court was over here, because if I
I really play in the gray area.